Welcome to the Soy Sauce. We're whipping up engaging discussions and insights on incredible books, pulling out the most powerful insights and practical takeaways so you can absorb incredible wisdom and spark new ideas all on your terms.
Let's sprinkle some soy sauce on your next book adventure.
Okay, so today we're diving into something I think pretty much everyone deals with at some point, change.
Right. And maybe more importantly, the fear that often comes packaged with it.
Wow, absolutely. That feeling when you're facing something big, a new project, a different habit, it can be completely overwhelming, can it?
It really can. It feels like you're supposed to make this giant leap.
Exactly. And, our source material really digs into why that feeling often leads to, well, failure, those huge revolutionary changes we aim for. They often crash before they even take off because the fear just shuts us down.
That's the core of it. So this deep dive is about getting under the hood,
Yeah.
understanding why we have that resistance. It's actually biological.
Biological. Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll look at a really interesting technique from the source Kaizen. It's all about using tiny steps to sort of sneak past that fear response.
Kaizen. Small steps. Okay, I'm intrigued. But first, the biology. You said it's how our brains are wired.
Pretty much. The source breaks down the brain structure. You've got the basic brainstem, the midbrain dealing with emotions, survival stuff.
Right, the primal parts.
Exactly. And then there's the cortex. That's the more evolved part, unique to humans. It handles conscious thought, planning, creativity,
Yeah.
all the stuff you actually need for making deliberate, lasting changes.
Okay, the thinking brain. Got it.
But here's the catch. Access to that thinking brain, the cortex, isn't always guaranteed. There's a part of the midbrain called the amygdala.
Ah, I've heard of the amygdala, the fear center.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Think of it like your brain's smoke detector or alarm system. When it senses something new, challenging, or potentially threatening anything outside your normal routine, it hits the panic button.
So that sudden anxiety, the resistance you feel when thinking about, say, starting a new workout routine or tackling a complex task, that's the amygdala going off.
That's likely it. It's signaling warning, unfamiliar territory. And the source makes a fascinating point here. Unlike, say, your liver, the brain is actually kept evolving throughout human history, so its responses are complex.
Wow. Okay, so this alarm isn't just uncomfortable, it actually does something.
It does. When that amygdala alarm is blaring, it actively restricts blood flow and activity in your prefrontal cortex,
The thinking part.
the very part you need for planning, willpower, problem solving, the tools for navigating change effectively.
So the fear itself literally hobbles the part of your brain required to deal with the thing causing the fear. It's a kind of a design flaw, isn't it?
Well, it kept our ancestors safe from tigers, but maybe less helpful for meeting project deadlines. It locks you into that fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Okay, so how do we get around this? This is where Kaizen comes in.
This is exactly where Kaizen offers such a clever solution. The whole idea is to use steps that are incredibly small,
How small are we talking?
like really small.
Yeah.
The source uses examples like, instead of write a book, maybe just open the document or write one sentence. Instead of clean the whole house, just clear off one counter.
Okay, so almost laughably small. What does that do to the brain?
That's the genius of it, according to the source. These tiny, non-threatening actions, they fly right under the amygdala's radar.
They're too small to trigger the alarm.
Precisely. No alarm means no shutdown of the cortex. Your thinking brain stays online, stays engaged.
So you can actually do the thing, make the small progress without that internal battle kicking off.
Right, and when the cortex is active, you can consciously direct your actions, start forming those new neural pathways for the habit, and adapt to the change more easily.
And doing that consistently, even with tiny steps, must start to reprogram the fear response over time, right? The brain learns this change isn't actually dangerous.
Exactly. It gradually weakens the resistance. It's not about muscling through fear with willpower. It's about being strategic, almost like whispering to your brain instead of shouting at it.
We like that analogy. Now, the source also mentioned reframing fear itself, that it's not entirely negative.
Yeah, that's another really interesting perspective. It suggests thinking of fear not just as a blocker, but maybe as a kind of signal, an alert from your body.
Like, hey, pay attention, something significant is happening.
Sort of, it's energy. And the material points out that some people actually learn to channel that physical sensation, transforming it from fear into something like excitement or readiness.
That's a powerful shift. So instead of letting fear lead to frustration and giving up, which the source warns against you, can acknowledge it, maybe even use its energy, or just bypass it with those tiny Kaizen steps.
Exactly right. So bringing it all together, what does this actually mean for you, the listener?
Well, it means understanding this brain wiring isn't just abstract knowledge. It gives you a concrete strategy.
You have a tool, Kaizen, to work with your brain's natural tendencies instead of fighting against them.
You don't need to feel paralyzed by big goals anymore. You can start small, keep that thinking brain engaged, and build real momentum towards lasting change and those habits you want to form.
It's about making smart, sustainable progress.
Definitely. So, maybe a final thought to ponder on. Considering how our brains have evolved and knowing we can consciously influence how we respond to change using something like Kaizen.
What limitations, things you previously thought were just fear blocking you, could you maybe start to chip away at just by taking one really, really tiny step today?
Okay, that's all. Thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like and subscribe now.
Can't wait to share more incredible book insights with you next time.